podcast. Your host, Dr. KellyRae, is a renowned mindset coach and counselor, often referred to as the inner critic tamer. With a passion for guiding individuals through life's challenges, she specializes in personal growth and emotional healing. In each episode, Dr. KellyRae shares invaluable insights, practical strategies, and relatable stories designed to inspire you to take that first step toward positive change. So, grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and get ready to dive deep into meaningful conversations that empower you on your journey. Let's welcome Dr. KellyRae.
Hey there, welcome back to the Getting to the Week podcast. I'm Dr. KellyRae, and I'm really glad you pressed play today. Before we begin this episode, I want to acknowledge something gently. There is a lot of emotionally disturbing, triggering, intense things circulating right now. Stories of abuse, power, corruption, accountability, and justice. And when topics like this rise to the surface, they don't just stay in the headlines. They land in bodies. Especially in the bodies of people who have lived through violation. I want to be very clear before we go any further. This episode is not about politics. It's not about defending or attacking any administration. It's not about debating timelines or motives. It's about something much more personal. It's about what happens inside a human nervous system when public stories echo private pain. Because I'm not speaking about this from theory. I'm speaking as someone who was violated. As someone who replayed those moments in her mind for years. As someone who wondered what was wrong with her. As someone who tried to make sense of horror by turning it into self-blame. As someone who swung between silence, rage, oversharing, and collapse. And here is something I learned the hard way. Even if every single person who harmed me had been publicly exposed, prosecuted, and punished, it would not have stopped the movie playing inside my head. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the movie that doesn't end. For years, there was a movie playing inside my head. It didn't matter that time had passed. It didn't matter that I was now physically safe. It didn't matter that no one else could see it. My nervous system still believed something was unfinished. My mind kept trying to solve it. Why did it happen? What did I do? What was it about me? How did I miss the signs? Why didn't I fight harder? Why didn't someone protect me? That movie replayed over and over and over again as I continued to grow from childhood to teenager to young adult into my adulthood. And here's the part that's hard to admit. There was a time when I believed that if justice happened, if someone was arrested, if someone publicly admitted wrongdoing, that the movie would stop. But that belief was subtle. It was unconscious, and it wasn't true. Justice may hold someone accountable, but it does not automatically rewire a traumatized nervous system. So when stories of abuse or corruption hit the public scene, the sphere, several things happen at once. And we're seeing that live. We're living through that right now in this day and age with things that are being shared from the Epstein files. People feel outraged. People feel helpless. People feel protective. People feel angry. People want someone to pay. And those responses are absolutely human. But survivors, something deeper gets activated. Because this is what I know, the body remembers. Even if you haven't thought about your story in years, even if you believe you've moved on, even if you rarely talk about it, the nervous system recognizes patterns of power, violation, secrecy, and injustice. And it reacts before your logic has a chance to catch up. That reaction can look like obsessively checking updates, feeling physically tense, becoming emotionally flooded, wanting immediate punishment, feeling consumed by outrage, or feeling completely shut down. And here's where I want to tread carefully. Wanting justice is not wrong, but expecting justice to heal your internal wounds is something very different. There was a period of time in my life where I lived from a survival identity. I told anyone who would listen my story, not as a badge of honor, not as empowerment, but because I was unconsciously hoping someone would love me through it. I was hoping external validation would quiet internal shame. There was also a season where I was so angry at men that I saw them all as dangerous. I used to call them, as my friend Susie can witness, clowns. I didn't trust anyone. And I told myself that anger was strength. But if I'm being honest, it was fear. Unprocessed, unregulated fear. It wasn't until I began doing shadow work, it wasn't until I sat with the parts of myself that felt dirty, broken, unworthy. It wasn't until I stopped replaying the movie and started feeling what was underneath it that something shifted. And here's the breakthrough. No courtroom could have done that work for me. No arrest could have reached into my nervous system and rewired it. No headline could have restored my self-worth. That was an inside job. which I think is really important that at this point we talk about justice versus regulation. Right? Because that's what so many people want or demanding. They want justice, right? I understand that. Justice and healing are not the same thing. Justice addresses behavior. Healing addresses the nervous system. Justice is external. Healing is internal. Justice can matter deeply, but it does not replace the work of regulation. If your body is still in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, if your mind is still replaying scenes, if your identity is still fused with what happened, even the most satisfying outcome in the world will not quiet that alarm system. And this is where I believe many people are unconsciously stuck right now. Watching, waiting, refreshing, hoping for closure, hoping justice will be served, hoping the violators pay for their crime. What is actually needed, especially if those other things never happen, is regulation. It's kind of the same thing that happens if, let's say, your boyfriend or girlfriend or your spouse decides to end the relationship without your consent. You feel like you can't move on until you have some closure as to why they wanted to leave. When in reality, closure happens once the internal healing and regulation happens. This is what I know. Our nervous system was never designed for this. The human nervous system was not designed to absorb global trauma in real time 24/7. It was not designed to process graphic details repeatedly. It was not designed to live in constant outrage cycles. And it was not designed to carry collective pain daily. When we do that enough, we begin to see fatigue, cynicism, anxiety, immune issues, sleep disruption, emotional volatility, hopelessness. And people start saying, I'm just tired. I don't feel motivated. Everything feels so hard right now. I feel heavy. I feel angry all the time. Everything irritates me. This is not weakness. This is dysregulation. So here's the question I want to gently place in front of you. When you're watching these stories unfold, are you watching from awareness or activation? Would you know the difference? Would you know what that difference feels like in your body? Is your body calm or is it braced? Are you informed or consumed? Are you hoping that something outside of you will finally quiet something inside of you? This is not a judgment. This is an invitation. Because if an old movie is still playing, no headline will turn it off. The hardest work I ever did was not confronting what happened to me. It was learning to love myself through it. It was learning to stop replaying the movie. It was learning to nurture the scared parts of me that I had tried to hide, run away from, ignore. It was learning to trust myself again. It was learning that not all men were predators. It was learning that my body could feel safe. That required therapy, shadow work, nervous system regulation, self-compassion, boundaries, time, and most of all, it required me to stop outsourcing my healing to future justice. And I know the question for many is, how do we help ourselves now? If I can't even help whatever's happening out there in the world, or I don't know where to do that, it starts with each one of us. So how do we navigate times like this? We stay aware, but we limit consumption. We care, but we regulate. We honor victims, but we don't re-traumatize ourselves daily. We recognize that power structures exist, but we do not allow our nervous system to live in constant alarm. And if you're someone who has lived through violation, I want you to hear this clearly. Your healing does not depend on what happens in a courtroom. Your worth is not waiting on public accountability. Your nervous system deserves care regardless of headlines. I know these are some really tough topics that we're talking about, but it's necessary that we have these conversations. As we begin to wrap up today's episode, I want to say something tenderly. It's completely valid to want justice. It's completely valid to feel anger. It is completely valid to feel protective. But your nervous system cannot live in constant activation and remain healthy. Justice may matter, but regulation matters too. If you've been feeling heavier lately, more reactive, more exhausted, more emotionally charged, pause. Breathe. Notice your body. Ask yourself, what do I need right now to feel steady. Not informed, not outraged, not vindicated, steady. Because steady is where healing happens. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for trusting this space. Thank you for sharing this message. As I feel that we can each do our part, this is a way that we can do our part to help others, is by sharing messages that can help others as they're going through and witnessing everything that we're going through and witnessing. And as always, be gentle on yourself as you go through the week. And know I send you so
Thank you for joining us for another
much
episode of
love.
the Getting Through the Week podcast with Dr. KellyRae. If you're looking to connect with her or schedule an appointment, here's how you can reach her. Follow her on Instagram at AskDrKellyRae. Check out her Facebook page at Dr. KellyRae. Find her on TikTok at Dr. KellyRae. Visit her website at drkellyrae.com. Or send her an email at drkellyrae@gmail.com. Until next week, Dr. KellyRae sends you so much love.